Hey everyone. Okay, so this chapter starts by confirming what we knew, that this new threat is in fact the O.N.E itself, whose body was crafted by Lendart's technology until he was given the perfect body. Now, how much I buy into that is really going to depend with how O.N.E Void performs in an actual fight. But if his armor is as strong as it's said here, then he's definitely going to be more difficult to pierce. It's going to be definitely more difficult to pierce his robotic shell than it was for Ziggy. The other interesting thing about this is what we learn after the fact, that not only are the Dark Stars joined with the O.N.E now, but we learn that the Demon Generals have joined with him. But this version of the Russian States Galactica has a few different faces to its name. One being Dead End Cure, so he's not even hiding behind the disguise of Crow in this universe. He's just straight up a villain. And hopefully that means this is Mashima trying to rectify his mistake from all the way back in the last war, and just is willing to kind of like flesh Cure out a little bit more. That's one thing that really kind of just bugged me. But the other members to talk about are Joker Helix, a beekeeper. I don't really have much to say about that guy right now. Lady Freya, who you can tell Valkyrie knows personally, so it should be interesting to see a matchup. I think it's safe to assume that sort of a master-student dynamic there, so it should be interesting to see how the master-student dynamic of Valkyrie and Homura kind of play into that. We also have Lightning Law, and the best for last, Zenolith apparently is also a Galactica member in this universe, and there's a lot to say about that reveal in itself. But honestly, right at the gate, one thing that I really like with just the reveal itself is just how everyone's reactions to it. And specifically, I like how despite everyone is kind of just buckling under the pressure of just the idea of fighting Zenolith, one they considered their friend before. I really like how Weiss, among all the others, is acting like the mature, level-headed one during all this. Like, everyone is suddenly so shaken up already by the news that he's one of the Russian States Galactica, that Weiss is the only one who has the guts to say the quiet part out loud, which is toughen the fuck up. This is the mission we've been given. This is the mission we took, and we need to see it through to the end. Even if it means pretty much trampling over Zenolith's body. If we want to save our world, if we want to save Mother, then we're going to have to face them. It's not just gonna be we can talk it out, simple as that. And granted, with Mashima nowadays, it's kind of hard if he's gonna follow through with that. But at the same time, I do like the stance Weiss has taken in this arc so far, because I think the one who needed to hear what Weiss said the most was Shiki, because as much as the thing with Shiki right now is he seems to be operating once again under that impression of like, if we just talk it out, maybe we can end it peacefully. But the thing is, we're facing down. But the thing is, I think Shiki himself fails to understand, at least to a degree, that we're facing down a situation where the crew can't afford fuck-ups. And although we have been lucky so far, it's likely to get much work. And Shiki needs to realize he has to steel his resolve in order to fight back. He can't just say, well, let's be friends. No, he has to fucking steel his resolve to do what's necessary, even if it means fighting against the world. It's what we need to do in order to save it as well. And just to hammer that point home further, I like how we see Rebecca in silent agreement that, yeah, while she has access to the base power of a cat leaper, the actual time jump isn't possible. Also, through the course of learning the news, the new roster of the Russian States Galactica has made obvious that Nero, Joe, and Rachel are kind of no longer considered Galactic themselves, but honestly, in Rachel's case, this has me more concerned than ever that the radical religious zealots that existed within the church are alive and well within this universe, because just saying she's no longer one of the Galactica makes finding her to, it just kind of makes the whole mission of finding her too easy now. So there's got to be a catch to it, and I think part of that is that Rebecca is going to get a first-hand experience of just how powerful, just what kind of a threat those zealots really were. And I think like that is going to be the big thing. That is going to be the big thing. That is going to be the big like major problem they're going to have to deal with when they finally find Rachel are the zealots. I think that is going to be the main problem here. But okay, let's talk about the big major holy fuck reveal, which is that the Eden's One isn't just a rogue AI, but one that was created by Mother herself. And honestly, at this point, we really need like a full-on history, backstory, lore deep dive into Mother's origins, because the fact that she's responsible for so many of our current problems just adds to the long list of what the hell she is. What is her power? I mean, as we know, she was supposedly born from the love of mother. So there's a whole. So obviously, human mothers are in some way responsible for creating her. But with everything else we've learned, it's like there's a whole other side to this story we just aren't seeing yet. Because if Mother gave life to the program called Eden's One, then why and for what purpose? Because all we know right now is that it's got an overwhelming need for destruction, with the only thing that makes with destruction and a desire to end Mother's life. With the only thing that makes sense is that Mother tried to keep it bonded to her for some reason, but it ended up breaking free, and now just wants revenge against her and all of humanity for creating her. Like that's the only thing that makes sense. But again, that just doesn't answer the question as to why. Like what are just Mother? There's some, even though we've learned a lot about Mother, there's still so much mystique around her that needs to be answered, and hopefully by the end of this journey she gives us those fucking answers, because god damn it, Mother, there's just too much around Mother that says, what the hell am I supposed to think about this? Of course, the madness doesn't end there either, because when we finally make it to Sandra, we meet up with Laguna, who executes a woman right in front of her child. Yes, that happened, and I want to say here's the thing, I want to say there's another side of this. There's a reason he did that. That Laguna's playing a long game of sorts, which he probably is, and maybe he didn't actually kill them, I don't know, but again, first introduction, and he shoots a Mother in cold blood. Not exactly a positive first impression that we're going to be starting on the right foot with Laguna with, and just again, it's that in itself already again opens up way more questions than answers. Like, I mean, supposedly he's on the side of the resistance fighting against Shura, the evil dictator, but just this first display is already kind of making me question the circumstances of the situation on Sandra, because while I don't want to judge too soon until we know more, this is kind of painting the resistance. This is already kind of painting the resistance as more the villains of this story than Shura and the government. Although I have to assume the title of the next chapter, Vanished Planet, might definitely hold some answers as to what's going on here. But it's like I even more so than that, is this our Shura, or is this a Shura, or is this the Shura who existed in this world? Did Shura already gain his memories and something is going on, and now he's under deep cover, or what's the deal with Shura? What's the deal with Laguna right now? What is going on? And what exactly is, and even more so, what is Shura's part to play in all this? What is the circumstance of this situation? I know I'm kind of just repeating myself a lot, but it's the whole, just that final page, it really got me shaken up a bit, and I don't know what to think. But okay, before but I guess before I forget though, I do want to circle back to the Russian States Galactica for a moment, because one other thing we see is Godak Noel still a member of the group of the group like the Russian States Galactica. So that alone begs the question: is this the same Aknoella who was Elsie's mother, or does this version of Aknoella have a completely different identity? Because if this is Shia Lelandard, then because if this is Shia Lelandard, then taking into consideration the information that a civil war possibly never happened, there can only be so many assumptions we can make about this. One of which is that Elsie's dead, killed by her mother, as of right now, is the only logical conclusion I can draw, outside the possibility that Elsie is alive but fighting back against her mother as the new queen of Leonard. But like, again, knowing Mashima, I have to go with the former scenario being the more likely one until we get more information. But in either case, like, this definitely shows there's more to what's going on with Linder than what we know, and in either situation, I don't think I think it is like at least like 50% likely that Elsie might be dead in this universe. I don't know, but it's just kind of I just got that feeling that that's the possibility of what we're looking at here. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst Control. Be sure to notification bell, subscribe button, and share the video around, guys. Dark Knight O.N.E signing off. Later, everyone.